Hello, I'm Howard, pastor of the Roseville New Church, and welcome to Spiritual Shorts. This is the first in a two-part series, Restoring True Christianity. We start this series with a question. What happens when everything you've built your life on feels like it's falling apart? When your faith is tested? When the world feels like it's losing its moral foundation? When the very things we trusted seem to be crumbling? What do you do? Well, the psalmist asked the same question thousands of years ago. If the foundations are destroyed, what can the righteous do? That question still matters a great deal today. If you've ever felt like your faith, your relationships, or your community are struggling, or maybe you've even wondered whether the very connection between the divine and humanity is at risk, well, you're not alone. Today, we're talking about why foundations matter and what we can do when they start to crumble. Because here's the truth. For all the negativity in the world, the Lord never leaves us without hope. So let's dive in. We all feel it. Things are shifting. Society is changing. The church is facing new challenges. Many believers feel disconnected or unsure of where they stand. And when we see this happening, we sometimes long for the past, for simpler times. But let me ask you this. Is it really the past that we are longing for, or is it something deeper? Maybe it's not about going back, but rediscovering what should never have changed. The unshakable truths that give us meaning and stability. The psalmists talk about foundations. Aristotle might have called them first principles. Everything, whether it's a house, a tree, or even the universe, it needs a foundation to stand on. And faith is certainly no different. A house with a weak foundation, it collapses. A tree without deep roots, it withers. A faith built on shifting sands, it won't survive the storm. That's why we have to strengthen our spiritual foundations. Here's something incredible. Even heaven's purpose is tied to what happens right here on earth. The Bible often talks about the end of the world, but that doesn't mean the destruction of creation. It's about transformation. It's about the end of an age and the beginning of something new. Ecclesiastes says, generations come and generations go, but the earth never changes. That tells us something important. Earth is part of God's eternal plan. It's not just a temporary stop. It's where we prepare for eternity. Without the church on earth, there is no church in heaven. That's why our foundations matter. Throughout history, when the church faced collapse, God always preserved a faithful remnant. In Noah's time, he saved a family to restart. With Moses, he brought the Israelites into a new covenant. In times of idolatry, he raised up prophets like Elijah. And when all else failed, he came himself, Jesus Christ, the Rock of Ages. The Lord came to rebuild and restore what was broken. He laid the foundation for a faith that can never be destroyed. So where do we go from here? We've talked about why strong foundations matter, but how do we build them? In part 2, we'll break down the key foundations of faith and how they can make your walk with God unshakable. Before you go, I'd love to hear from you. What is one area of your faith that's been tested recently? Leave a comment below and let's encourage one another. God bless you.